It is time for me to become a content creator. And I'm going to make the big monies. The plan is simple. First, I'm going to make an account on YouTube and I'm going to be a YouTuber. I'm also going to be an Instagram person, and I'm also going to be on LinkedIn and on Twitter and Blue Sky and the red something new thing that they just released. After that, we get to step number 2, the more difficult and more important and more challenging step, but that step that I'm going to do very effectively. I'm going to do content and make a lot of it. I'm going to make a lot of content every single day. I'm going to burst 5, 10, 50 pieces of content every day. Next, more importantly, you can't just create content. I have to engage. So I'm going to spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 hours every single day engaging with everyone on every single social network so they can be my friends. And then it comes the best and most critical part. I will stay consistent. And then money. Everyone will throw money at me and I'm going to be rich. Finally. Okay, 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 okay. So, in this video, I'm gonna tell you a story, and this story is gonna sound a lot like what we see from content creators nowadays, and it's going to be eerily similar, unfortunately, but it is a warning. It is a warning of a problem that I had in my first startup and how that failed very miserably. And it is a problem that I don't want you to hit with your first business. And let's be very clear, being a creator is running a business. You're not just creating content. You're creating content so that you can make money. If you can't make money from your content, you cannot sustain creating content, and that's not a healthy way to live. And you want to make some money and be able to outsource a bunch of the work that you do so you can actually have time to run your stuff, live your life, and see your family once every 3 weeks at least. You get the drill. So that was 12 years ago. Since then, this is when I started my first business. Since then, I've started 2 other startups that failed miserably. It took me a while to learn. Then I started a business that I grew to 70 people that done wonderfully well. It was an IT agency, and that did millions and millions. We did hundreds of millions for our clients. And now finally I created Parker Labs, which is a business that helps creators make money and build their own business, basically. And to do that, the best first step is Creator Income, which is the newsletter. It's down there. You should subscribe. It's amazing. Anyway, so 12 years ago, I think it's 12 years. Anyway, a bunch of years ago, I started my first business. I was very ambitious. I was a game designer and a game developer. So I was spending a lot of time, and I mean a lot of time, just working on different games. I was testing games every single day. I was making little games to mess with my friends or entertain my friends. I was sharing them online. I was talking to all of the other game developers. And a friend of mine, and me were talking, hey, we are very good at this thing. Let us make our own game. So we start making a horrible idea. Every beginner game developer eventually decides to make one of those. Very horrible idea. We built a lot of the stuff that was super technical and complicated. We made our own networking. We made our own, communication protocols. We did a lot of very difficult stuff that by no way or form an 18-year-old should be able to do. But we did all of the hard stuff. And we worked on this for a year before we realized the very simple part of the whole process, which was we need actual content for this thing, otherwise it's boring as hell. And we actually had to cancel the project. But it took us a very long time. But during that process, we actually met a couple of other people and we started our very first business. And our very first business was designed so it creates a bunch of games in a very, very unique and new way. Because we had the coolest idea. I had that idea. I'm very proud of it. I had the coolest idea of getting a bunch of different games which have cross-game multiplayer. That was very fun at the time. You like some sort of a game and your girlfriend likes a different type of game, and you play games that you both like, but you still play together, which is a super cool idea. I still haven't seen it before. Very excited about this. But I started this idea. Everyone agreed that this was super awesome. We're all super aligned, and we are all aligned that this is going to work because the idea was amazing. The team was great. Everything was perfect. We even found a person that funded a little bit of money in the project, which was great. Now, this is how things started. But there comes the first problem. After we spent, a very good amount of time, we spent around 9 months building the first game, and that was just the warm-up game, by the way. We planned in those 9 months to finish 4 games, which is how most businesses are in the beginning. They're over-ambitious, they want to do everything. It's not always that easy. Usually things take, 3, 4, 5 times more time than you think. In our case, we planned to work on, 5 games in 9 months and finish all of them. We ended up finishing one of them, barely, and he had a bunch of other games in the pipeline. So not perfect by no measure of the imagination, but we were still hype up. No big deal, who cares? We had a game ready. We published this, and the craziest thing happened. We wanted to publish a mobile game first. The goal was the mobile game market was, super hungry. 2011, 12, something like this. There are still not that many games on the mobile market. There are still lots of people wanting to play more games. There are not enough games. Hungry market, amazing. So the plan was we publish the game, the App Store just promotes the shit out of it, and we are rich in like a week. That's the plan. Now, that plan didn't work out, as you can probably imagine, because the business failed. But the interesting dynamics around it are wild, because what every one of us somewhat expected, and I'm very disappointed in me expecting this, of course, it was like we would make the game, and because the game is amazing, it was okay, to be honest. Like, I really liked it then. Now I'm like, hey, it's okay, it's fine. But the expectation was the game was so good that people would just fight and just get it immediately. Well, in reality, what happened is, the App Store promoted it, that game, that they had like, I don't know, 11 new games being published. So, not too many, but not, not zero. So we got, featured on one of those pages. We got featured for like 3 days, something, and we got, I don't know, 85, 86 downloads, something like this. And this being a freemium game, exactly zero people vote. In freemium games, you have like 1% of people actually buying. And by the way, this also applies to email marketing. Like when you have a big audience, you would expect like 1% for them to be paying and the rest to be free. You can go higher than that, but it's kind of difficult. If you want to convert a higher percentage, you have to be really good at your marketing game, or you have to be really fast at disqualifying people who are on your list, which can be a little bit dangerous. So anyway, 1% buyers is very expected, very normal for many industries. We vastly underappreciated how many people will buy, first of all. Because I know now that 1% buyers is normal. Back then I didn't know that. No one of us knew that. Like we were like, oh, we'll get like every second person will buy, every third person will buy. We were thinking about like 40% of people actually buying the game. And yes, it was cheap. It was like $5 or something to get the full thing. But people didn't care that much, and that's normal. Like most people are just exploring. They're not committed. They don't want your specific game. They just see something shiny. They click the button, download it, maybe open it. You would find that the number of downloads versus the number of opens is also, very different. So a lot of people didn't even open the thing, and the ones who did, they were not always in perfect conditions. Sometimes, they were somewhere running to run an errand. They were waiting for someone, and that person popped up, and they never, thought to open the game again. Sometimes they opened the game, but something bugged out and it didn't work correctly the first time. Maybe, the game was a little bit too slow to load. Maybe their phone was old. There's so many reasons why the experience might not be absolutely perfect. And if any one of those reasons hits, and with games on the mobile phone, which we take everywhere, it's very easy for one of those to happen. It's very unlikely the person will give the game a second or a third chance. And this is exactly what happened. Like we had, the number of players from actual downloads was like almost half, and then the numbers got worse basically as you look on this. I'm talking by memory, so my numbers are off. I'm just talking in the rough ranges. So don't quote me on this. Now, this is the first, disappointment. Like we built the game and people didn't flock to buy it immediately. We didn't get the free promotion. But I was like, yeah, we built it. They will come. People will start coming. So we focused immediately on building the next game. And we spent the next months, one, waiting for this massive amount of people to suddenly find us, maybe sharing a post on Facebook once in a while. Two, building and spending overtime building, never marketing. I didn't even know what marketing meant back then. And three, just convincing the person who invested the money in our business that this is gonna be fine. This is how all games work. And like we actually believe that because we were absolute fucking morons, but that's not how things work. People don't magically conjure out of nowhere to come and buy your product. You need to work a lot to create the amount of noise you need in any market for people to even barely notice you. And the amount of noise you need to make after gets progressively more and more and more, and it becomes progressively harder and harder and harder. So we were absolutely agreeing. We had no idea what we were doing, and the whole thing eventually just imploded because everyone got more stressed and the investor got more angsty because they were not seeing any money coming from this, and the whole thing eventually self-collapsed, and it was not pretty. My suggestion for a first business is always start by yourself, figure out this stuff on your own, because the only person that you're going to blame at the end is going to be you. And I personally ended up with that mindset and managed to channel this into developing myself. I started learning marketing. I started practicing my public speaking skills. I picked up magic and started doing a bunch of stuff with cards just so I can start communicating a little bit better. And this turned out to be a very impactful experience for me, but I can't necessarily say the same for everyone who was on the team back then. Like they didn't have that easy of a time. It is difficult to be in that kind of a situation and actually see the fault in yourself, because the whole thing is very easy to pinpoint to a couple of decisive moments. Even if I'm the only person responsible for everything that happened, I can surely take the blame. I was not even leading the team, but I can surely take the blame. But the final result is you don't learn anything. So even though I didn't feel like I was responsible back then, I personally absolutely didn't, I took all of the responsibility on myself because I believe that this is the way I can learn more. But yeah, anyway, so a bunch of lessons for this, and the biggest one for this video, which I'm going to end with. Number one, you should start your first business alone, probably while even working full-time. Because right now, when you are allowed to do that, you can build on social media and no one cares, and you can still invest a couple of hours every day and then get full in once you actually have the money and everything for that, which makes a lot more sense. Two, you should probably start on your own, figure out how to do this stuff on your own, and just figure out what the fuck is happening before you start spending all of your savings on that. And number three, the most important one, and the reason for this entire video is you can't build it and they come. Like, this is bullshit and it does not work. And this same bullshit right now, social media is pushing to every one of us, which is stay consistent and you'll make it. That's absolutely not the case. If you stay consistent, you will make it. If make it means make a lot of money for the social network. Because stay consistent, what does it usually include? It includes posting content and engaging on social media. And the person who wins the most amount of money from you doing that is not you. It is the social network, even though it's not a person, but you get the idea. But the social network makes the most money from you doing that because you spend a lot of time trying to get other people to spend a lot of time. And this isn't to say that consistency is not relevant, that you should never be consistent, just post once and never post again. No, that's not the point. The point is consistency is not enough. You can't just be consistent and everything magically happens and you win. You need to have a plan. You need to have a business plan behind all of this. You need to understand how money works. You need to understand how to turn all of this attention you master getting into actual buyers and actual cash that you can spend on, not that important stuff like food or cameras or whatever else you want. Because it is kind of important. You can't just run a business forever making no money. You actually want to monetize it. And trust me when I say this, most of the best businesses could make money very early on as they could make money later on. And even if they couldn't, the person running the best businesses could do that early on and late on. Like, if you are a capable entrepreneur, you know how to monetize your skills short term and long term. And even if you have long term plans for monetization, even if you want to launch an energy drink, even if you launch a company later that does something, banking or t-shirts or whatever, you should figure out how to do this the short term as well, because that teaches you all of the valuable lessons and gets you to actually compete in the business market. And when you're playing the game for free on easy mode, that doesn't. And that is very dangerous because you would spiral into resentment. And I've seen this happen, and it happened with the majority of my own team besides one person. And it is not something healthy, and it is not something that I can recommend. So figure out how you're going to make money and validate that idea by actually making money very early on. You don't need to make a lot of money, but you need to measure your business not by just the content and consistency, but also the amount of output you get. And for a business, the output is cash. So make sure you make money as well. I hope that helps. If that was useful, join my newsletter. My emails are absolutely amazing. You should get them. The link is below. It's free. So yeah, hop on that. And yeah, throw me any of your comments in the comment section and see you soon. Bye.